I guess, do we want to have spoiler sections, or do we want to try to make things, videos
there's
fully
stuff that I want to talk, like, a lot of the things I'm angry about, I already be spoiled, so.
Okay.
All right,
I think you bring us in this time.
Right.
Oh, hang on.
You're good? Your hair is good? My hair is
it's
good,
not,
too.
but
Like, my beard is okay.
It's
okay,
not,
good.
but I'll be fine.
Let's go Mets, baby! All right, ready?
Yeah.
Are we plugged in? Yes, we are. Good vocals. Good.
I think you're stupid, and I think it's the best book ever written.
I'm gonna hate you if you actually believe that. Welcome back, everyone. We're Law Librarian. I am Dantes.
I'm Jacob.
And we're talking today, we're going to have a book review for you for today. And it is a book that a lot of people are anticipating. A lot of people love this author. And it is Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. Really quick, I hated this book. I did not like it one bit.
Yeah, I also really didn't like it. I don't think I'd go so far as to say I hated it, but it was not.
I think I've tried several R.F. Kuang books, and she's just not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me. I didn't enjoy it, and it's just... I had a bad time with it. I have a bad time with her writing. I have a bad time with how she writes her plots. Her characters are atrocious most of the time for me, and it was really bad. So
yeah, I didn't dislike Babel, which is one of the books I've read by her. But this, and I didn't really dislike Yellowface either, though I didn't think Yellowface was that great. But this was a big disappointment for me. I did not like this. I did not like Katabasis.
So really brief introduction. Well, yeah, really brief introduction. Katabasis is a academically leaning book. It follows two protagonists, Alice Law and Peter Murdoch, as they journey into Dante's hell, really, to try to find the soul of their recently deceased professor that's helping them out with their dissertation, who is, what's his name?
Jacob Grimes.
Yeah. It follows them as they journey through hell, try to find him, and then story apparently happens through that. That's generally the overview of this book. It was released recently in 2025.
Yep.
It was released by Harper Voyager. I know a lot of people were really excited to read this. I know a lot of people that like this book, and a lot of people that don't like this book. Thankfully, because again, I had a very hard time with this book. It's not really any moment that I enjoyed of it. A lot of things that it tried to introduce were briefly interesting, but she just didn't land it well, and it's not for me. She's not for me, and I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, so what did you end up rating it?
I rated it a 1.75.
I rated it a 1.5.
Yeah,
so.
It was not a good time for me. This is beyond disappointing of a book. This is not even usually 2 is disappointing, but I could see the fruits of it, where it just maybe didn't jive with me. I could see, but this is just worse than that. I felt like it just hit the mark. It missed the mark on a lot of things for me, and I didn't enjoy it. Nothing of this book actually stood out for me. The themes were probably the only thing that attempted to win me over, but even then, I don't think she handled it well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think I'm trying to be a little more charitable because I did go into this with better expectations, but it just didn't really go well. So yeah, I actually quite liked the premise. I thought it was a very interesting idea and a good idea, and it just kind of fails on execution in every way.
I agree. So you want to give it your general thoughts and everything, kind of what you were expecting,
Yeah, so I was expecting something a little more, I guess, just fun. I don't know if that's the right word, which is kind of weird because that's not even really what I look for in books. Yeah. But I was expecting something more. I was expecting something less cerebral than it ended up being, if that makes sense. And it just, I mean, I really don't know what to say without just completely shitting on it. It's not good.
Yeah. Me, I'm not a fan of Kuang. I've read the first 2 books, first book and a half of The Poppy War, and then everything I hear afterwards, and Babel and Yellowface, it just didn't jive with me. I don't usually connect with her characters. Even if it's a bad character, as long as I follow their motivations and it makes sense to me, I'm usually okay, this is good. I don't mind having a character that I don't like as the protagonist.
Yeah.
This was just everything from setting, magic system, characters, the themes were all just fell flat or missed the mark completely for me.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
setting meant nothing. This could have taken place instead of hell. This could have taken place in a slaughterhouse in middle of Kansas, and it would have been the same story, and it would have meant exactly the same, which is nothing. It was. It's disappointing. It's disappointing. She doesn't like, and people say that it was intentional by her to create hell into this such a boring premise because it's supposed to be like academic.
Oh,
wise.
we'll talk about that because I think it's stupid, and I think it's like, in fact, I would go so far as to say I think it's like a really like tone deaf thing to do.
Yeah, it was very, and then the characters were also fell flat, felt one note. They weren't believable. They weren't believable as like just people themselves.
Yes, and
they just felt like they were one thing until flashbacks happened, and then they got shoehorned into being something else. It was just, and some of the tropes that are in here were just really, really badly executed. So,
yeah. Is there anything good that stood out to you?
some of the flashback scenes in this book. So, like you're following these present guys as they go into hell, and then there's flashbacks. Some of the flashback scenes were interesting. But again, the way it was executed just didn't land for me. And I know other people say that they would have preferred a story set in those flashbacks, and then the ending would be just them traveling through hell because it was just so nothing happened.
Oh, I don't think it even needed to be that. I think if just like if there was more, the book opens with them going to hell. That's not a spoiler. It's like page 1. They they go to hell.
That's the premise of the book.
And I think if there was maybe a little more, I don't think it needed a whole book, but if there was a little more time spent there before they went, I think that would have been better, especially because I really don't like the way that the story is told with all the flashbacks. It's very sloppy in that way, but it's also, the flashbacks reveal things that like completely... The flashbacks reveal things that completely change the story that make you as the reader go, why were they acting this way before?
Yeah, you feel bamboozled because like they're acting in a certain way or the story is going in a certain way, and then these flashbacks reveal stuff about their intentions or whatever, and then it gets shoehorned into the story from then on. It's not that these characters were acting in a way that made you like suspicious or like wondering, hey, is there something more going on? No, it completely changes sometimes their personality, and it makes the story like it's done incredibly like I'm not doubting, like I'm not saying in any way that R.F. Kuang is unintelligent. I know she's super smart, and I love hearing her talk about certain themes and like her the reasons why she does things. She just, for me, is not a good storyteller, and it just doesn't land well, and this highlights all those flaws for me in a way that should like be prevalent in just good should be prevalent in good storytelling or good narration. Like it's just it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to get into spoilers? It's been about 10 minutes.
So this is about spoilers. We're gonna be getting into the the actual meat of this book and what just didn't land for us. So,
okay. What do you want to talk about first? Plot?
Let's go with plot.
Okay. Yeah, it was just because we were kind of just looking at things a little bit. The way the book is set up with the structure and everything is it's like somebody's telling you a story, and then they will say like, "Oh, and then I met up with Dantes," and I'm realizing as soon as I say it, like, "Oh, you don't know who that is." Okay, let me go back and tell you who this person is and why it's so funny and interesting that I met up with Dantes here. And that is like the whole book is constantly doing that. It'll be like, oh, blah 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 blah. This kind of thing of analytical magic, and then it's like, oh, flashback. You need to know what analytical magic is. This is what it is. And I'm like, yeah.
The plot, just to go briefly over everything that goes on, is it starts off with Alice Law wanting to go travel into hell to find find her professor that she recently blew up, and she blames herself for having
it was like an accident.
Yeah, an accident that she just didn't. She was tired or whatever, and she just sloppily did a pentagram that the professor, who everyone like in the beginning of the book seems like everyone loves and everyone like adores.
Yeah. And
you just find out as the series goes on that he's a piece of shit as a professor, and gets blown up, and obviously his soul is in hell. And as she's about to delve into hell, Peter Murdoch, the other character, the other protagonist in the story, bumps into her, but like intentionally
we find out through flashbacks
Yeah.
that they kind of both knew that they were both trying to do the same thing.
Yes.
They kind of figured out they were both trying to go to hell.
Yeah, we don't find that in the beginning. It's
Yes,
told like, oh,
it's told later.
he comes in and just like, hey, I'm going with you because he's my professor too.
Yes, and we also find out later. We find out later also that Peter also blames himself.
Yes.
For him dying.
Yeah, so that's the only thing you can feel like there's the reasoning of why they go into hell doesn't seem to coincide, and that's the only thing I could probably say that.
Well, it was the big thing was they were like he's like their ticket basically.
Yeah, to
like
graduating,
he's
whatever.
very well respected and stuff. They were like, oh, if he's not our advisor, we've kind of wasted all this time. We're gonna have to find a new advisor. We're gonna have to make up work. But it's also like he's such a famous, well respected magician that they're like, oh, you worked with him, like we can get you a job anywhere basically.
Exactly.
But you later find out that at least for Alice, that is not the actual reason she's going into hell.
Yeah.
She's actually going into hell because despite her thinking she killed this guy, that wasn't enough for her. She actually hates this guy, is kind of glad that he died, but actually wants to revive him so she can torture him forever.
It is just baffling to me how poorly executed the story is with this. And again, so you go into hell, and then you're traveling through the different levels of hell. It's supposed to be emblematic of Dante's Inferno or Milton's Paradise Lost, and the setting means nothing. You're going through these different layers of hell. You're seeing glimpses of these different layers of hell, and it adds nothing to the story. It's supposed to be cool and interesting. I felt Inferno was boring. Or kind of mid. This was just bad. Like it meant nothing in the setting, and I have no idea why. And then there's some sort of like subplot about this other magical family that's kind of like running amok in hell and possibly like gonna like destroy the real world because of all the
chaos
that they're doing in hell. And it just it means nothing in the end.
Yes, I think like for hell, there's like very little awe in it. And there's very little. There's no like horror in it.
Yeah.
And I get what she's trying to say with it. There's literally a line where Peter says like, "Oh, hell is a campus," and whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like I believe the implication was that the hell that they're seeing is kind of like molded to them, basically.
Well, you see at the end of the book that there's 3 different drawings of hell and their interpretation of what hell looked like.
Well, that's just how it's laid out. I think the different levels. I think they say at the beginning like, "Oh, because we're academics, like hell is like this for us."
That's the interpretation that you're supposed to get.
But I really don't like that.
Yeah.
Because it implies, in what I was talking about in the beginning, where I was like, there's this kind of tone-deaf aspect to it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, the worst thing that they could think of, like that has happened in their lives, is like professors being mean to them in school.
It's so stupid, man.
And you find out that especially for Alice, like way worse shit happens than just the professor being mean to her.
Yeah.
But it's,
and in the beginning of the book, she adores this guy, and then it just like you find out through the flashback that the guy basically molests her.
Yeah.
And then that whole scene, one of the later flashbacks, that she tries to have a discussion with another professor there, a female professor, and try to get some empathy or try to get some understanding of what she should be doing and everything. Mm-hmm. And that professor is just like, hey, what do you think I'm doing here? Like, I'm here for a reason, and I understand what the academic game is going about. Like, what do you want from me? Are you going to do anything with this, or you just want to cry about it? Like, are you seeking attention, or are you going to do something with it? And it's just like, that was handled so grossly.
I mean, I think that's intentional.
Yeah.
But but it's also. So,
I kind of agree. Cause I mean, not that I agree with the idea behind it. I agree with the professor finding that Alice is just doing this for fucking just to cry. And I didn't like Alice's character, especially as you find out through the flashbacks. But yeah, it.
What I really didn't like about it is that I actually think it is more interesting if all these bad things happen and Alice is still like worshiping him and like still worshiping isn't the right word. Still has this like respect and adoration for him, despite all these bad things. I think that's like a more interesting story.
Yeah.
But she's like, no, I actually hate his guts, and I want to see him die over and over again.
It was badly done. So, do you have anything else to say about plot? At the end of it, at some point, Alice is just very selfish, and then essentially like causes Peter to be sacrificed in her attempts to continue on.
Yes, that was so okay. That was so dumb and rushed and whatnot, and there was like absolutely no gravitas to him dying. That I was immediately like, oh, he's not actually like permanently dead.
Yeah, and like you see that right from the moment it happens, and there's just like it feels childlike. This like how this was structured, and I don't understand. Were we supposed to feel something? Was this supposed to be impactful? Because we all saw that this guy was going to be revived at the end, and then continuing on from that, like she learns nothing from it. Like it's just she blames herself again in the same vein that she blames killing Grimes, and I don't. And then another thing about the plot aspect is the whole like miscommunication trope that's being presented. If there was any communication between Peter and Alice and their intentions of finding, like none of this would have happened, or none of this would have like gone as poorly as it was executed in the story. Mm-hmm. And did you believe the love story?
I mean, I think it was fine. I think there could have been more tension to it. My thing is when Peter is ostensibly not really there to get Grimes back. He's kind of there for Alice. Like he kind of just really didn't. Just didn't want Alice to be alone. But like he says, like he wants to get Grimes back. But when Alice is like, "Oh, I actually don't want to get him back. I want to torture him forever for all eternity," Peter's just like, "Oh, all right."
Oh,
like
yeah,
I'm like, there's no conflict there. Peter's not like, maybe we shouldn't do that. Actually, I'm here to get him back out of hell. Like I actually don't want that to happen. There's no conflict there. Peter's just like, oh, all right, cool. I'm on board with that now. I'm like, what? Like what?
Everything from the love story felt forced. Like these guys didn't know each other at all. So why is there a love story? It's not even an enemies to lovers thing. Even though that's what she attempts to kind of like implement through a flashback, not through the narrative of the story.
Yeah, I will say the big thing is like they did not know each other at all. Yeah. Like I wouldn't be like I think it could be interesting if this gets like a sequel or something. I think it could be interesting if there's a time skip and they're like actually not together because like they didn't know a thing about each other.
They felt like flat. They felt one-dimensional. It wasn't. They weren't believable characters. They weren't. The conflict between them wasn't believable. Everything that kind of sprung up from this was just terrible. What do you want to go into next? I want to talk about setting because hell like meant nothing. I mentioned it before, but the setting of hell in the story, it really like it didn't add anything. There wasn't even a good. I didn't even feel like I was in hell. It just felt like it was a placeholder for something else that she was attempting to do, and it didn't add anything to the story. It could have been again set in the middle of nowhere, and it would have been the same thing.
My thing is, I don't know how much we want to talk about like setting, or if we're going to more talk about like world building.
Yeah, I mean that's setting world building is kind of what I'm talking about.
But my thing is, if people like they know hell is real, I'm like, why are people not trying harder to not get into hell? And there's this like throwaway line. I wish I can remember what it was exactly word for word, but I can't. But there was this throwaway line where Alice says something like, "Oh, nobody's ever been to heaven." And what? I didn't know if that meant like nobody goes to heaven when they die, or if it meant like nobody's like been to heaven as a magician or whatever.
So then why would you strive to be a magician if you're
Yeah, but I was like nobody. I'm like, it was very weird. I was like, why are people not like way more religious? Why do they not seem to care about this?
Yeah.
Why do they not seem to care about being in hell all that much? It was very odd. I have other world building complaints that aren't necessarily about that. If you want,
I've spoken.
I did get the magic, but I didn't get like what was behind the magic and stuff.
The magic meant nothing as well, man. Like there's nothing interesting that the magic did besides, I guess, Deus Ex Machina, the ending. But there was nothing about the magic system from outside of hell to in hell that really helped further the plot.
So my thing that I really didn't like about the magic, that it might be a little nitpicky, but I couldn't get past it, is that they're both magicians.
Yeah.
But Alice is a linguist, and Peter does math.
Yeah.
And I was like, how? But their magic is functionally the same.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand what the difference is here. And for if language and math are both part of it, I don't understand. Alice was shit at math. So I don't understand, like, if math is part of it, like, how are you this good of a magician if you don't know the math and math is part of it?
Yes.
And there was a throwaway line that Peter didn't know, like he didn't know how to close read. He didn't know how to, like, read analytically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if this is also part of it, why is he not better at that? I understand that there's, like, these specializations, but if it's part of what you're doing, how do you not know, like, a little bit about it?
Do you know what I just remembered right now? There's, like, she gets tattooed on herself that she cannot, like...
She can't, like, forget anything.
From Grimes, and she cannot forget anything, and... What did that do to serve the service plot?
Yeah, it was
it serviced like her reasonings to why she hated Grimes, but again, it wasn't introduced or it wasn't implied or hinted at in the beginning.
That wasn't really one of the big reasons she hated him. I thought that was an interesting thing for the beginning of the book, but
why isn't she better at those aspects?
It's never like impactful.
Yeah, nothing hit the mark where she I guess intended. I can't be more forceful in my despise of how poorly executed this was.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there anything that stood out for you that was kind of good?
Okay, so I think the tattoo thing was actually kind of cool, and the way it affected her, the way, like, not forgetting
that you find out halfway through the story. It wasn't introduced.
It wasn't quite halfway. I think it was maybe like 25% or something.
Yeah.
But she keeps doing these things at the beginning where she tells herself things about herself or whatever, and you find out later that part of the reason she's doing that is because she doesn't forget anything because of this magical tattoo that she has, and it almost like she needs to remember, like, herself because she gets, like, lost in, like, all the thoughts of everything that she has, and all the, like, memories of everything that she has, that she, like, gets lost.
And it's not even memories of she has of the kid, like, it's memories starting from when she got the tattoo.
From when she got the tattoo,
which is recent.
But so, like, she needs to do these things to, like, ground herself, or else she gets, like, lost in the thoughts and memories and stuff. And I actually thought that was kind of interesting. But other than that, there's not much that I think is very interesting.
I think the last thing I really want to talk about this book is the themes and how well and how poorly she executes on these. So I think the main thing about this is the academic setting and, like, higher learning and how I know what she's going for, or I feel like I understand where she's going for, that the academic world is very tough for women, and just kind of the cutthroatness of higher learning. Again,
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
like, I get that. I can see that that's what she's going. That's the thing that she's going for. The whole thing with, like, hell as academia and whatever is, I'm like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, the whole time I was just thinking, like, this is really, like, the worst thing that could happen to these people is that they get stuck in a library where they can't find an answer. Like, that's really the worst thing.
Yeah,
that can happen. It just felt so off to me because of that.
Yeah, themes were very heavy-handed, very on the nose, very not believable because of those aspects. It just didn't. There's nothing really here, and any subplot or any, like, tension that was brought up in the story just kind of gets waved away. Like, when Peter gets sacrificed because of Alice's poor decision, it's just like, okay, like, and she keeps on moving on. Like, there's nothing, like, there's very little, like, introspection or reflection on the choices that she made and how it got to this point. And I didn't like any of it. I didn't like anything that happened in the story. Yeah. Anything else that I think I covered a lot of the things. Oh, there's a conversation that I had in a chat about, like, Kwong's intentionality of satire and everything, and I feel like, so my argument was that it didn't do satire well. She was hyperbolic, which is a tool that satire could use to make it satirical. But all the themes and, like, everything that the novel tries to explore is hyperbolic in a bad sense, where it didn't feel, the intentionality just didn't land to make it a satirical novel for me.
Yeah, it didn't feel satirical at all.
Yeah, and then someone replies to me, like, oh, she actually said it was a love letter to her husband, and then it's also, like, a magical land that satire. And I'm like, it didn't feel like that at all. It felt like there was, like, it felt like everything was just kind of, like, taken to the nth degree, and made it feel more caricature-ish. And in that sense, just more non-believable and more just... There was nothing in this book that kind of really made me feel like it was thought out correctly, planned out properly, or executed in a believable manner.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah.
Again, R.F. Kuang, I don't understand why her books feel like are so beloved. Because as far as I've heard and I've read, she does the same things over and over again. She could do something in a similar vein, but like the fantasy setting or like these stories that she's trying to attempt to tell just don't feel believable, don't feel like they've been properly thought out, and they feel sloppy. They feel sloppy and very like messy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you ever would read Babel, but I would be interested to hear what you thought of it.
Yeah.
I think it was better than this for sure. I mean, it definitely has its issues, but I was not like going from Babel and Yellowface to this. I'm like, it was like a huge step down. Like, I don't think those books are bad, but like those books have problems, but I don't think those books are bad, and I think this is bad.
Yeah. So I think we're going to be closing this off with our final thoughts. Is there anything else that you wanted to specifically get into?
No, I don't think so.
All right. So closing off with our final thoughts. Look bad. Okay. I again, setting and magic, world building didn't mean anything to me. The characters felt flat. They felt unbelievable. The story felt like forced in a lot of times. The themes were either too on the nose or they weren't executed properly to me, and I did not have a good time with this book. And anyone that says that they like this book is wrong. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think this book does. I think this book does little good, but I do think it has some good things. I guess, like the premise, and there are some things that I like about it, like the tattoo that we talked about and stuff. But I think it just doesn't give those good things enough attention. It doesn't. It does. It's not executed very well. Mm-hmm. I don't even think the writing is like horrible. But it's not,
I mean, I want to like Kuang. Like I want to like her write. I like her writing somewhat. It's not like anything mind blowing. But
yeah, I don't think it's really like good or bad. But like then everything around it was just it was. I would say it was sloppy. It was a very sloppy book.
Very sloppy. Very disappointing. Do you have anything else to say that you want to add to this?
No.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad that you guys got to see us angry at a book. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Let us know if you agree with us. If you don't agree with us, let us know what your thoughts on Kuang or Katabasis is, or Katabasis, whatever the pronunciation is. Yeah, it was very, very lukewarm, and I mean, not even lukewarm. This is just like bad book. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope to see you on the next one.
If you're interested in hearing more thoughts about books and stuff in the future, if you want to see more book reviews, let us know.
Let us know what you want us to read.
Please subscribe. We're still a very new channel, and subscribing is like the most helpful thing you can do for us to grow at this point.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.